Hosted by Ms. Maida Noor Ahmed. She's the co-host, and the floor is over to you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to confirm, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Perfect. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, and welcome to the day 3 of All Pakistan Online Education Summit 3.0, which is progressing by shining the imparts. My name is Maida Noor Ahmed, and I'm working as an instructional design consultant at UMT Connected in University of Management and Technology, Lahore. Abide with me, and I will be your host for this afternoon. I'd like to extend my warmest welcome to all respected presenters, sponsors, and my dear audience. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and once again, welcome aboard. This is the third run of All Pakistan Online Education Summit, and I am hosting it for the very first time. I am truly honored and feel privileged to be the part of this great cause, APAWS. You can see my excitement level, which is multiplying by each passing second. I would like to pay my heartfelt gratitude to the management for allowing me this pleasure. So without any further ado, I have my presentation ready on my department, which is UMT Connected. So let me share my screen first. Okay. Okay, so as we know that UMT Connected. UMT Connected, so I'll start off with the agenda of this presentation. So you will find me talking about UMT Connected department. And at least we know that the e-learning trends that you will provide the information about the department and growing importance of the e-learning industry. I will also talk about e-learning taking place in Pakistan. You will also get to know about some of the industrial design models used for course development. We will briefly discuss about the core platform of UMT Connected. So we will begin with a brief introduction of what UMT Connected is. UMT Connected is a directorate of distance education at University of Management and Technology. The department was established in July 2017, and UMT has launched a strategic initiative and has positioned himself to make UMT as a leader in the e-learning sphere. It aims to ensure that University of Management and Technology is compliant with the Higher Education Commission's standard for electronically delivered courses as well as quality matter standards. It works with the relevant interest groups to create and enforce policies basically and procedures about on-campus, video-based, technology-enhanced, hybrid, and online courses. So now let's take a look at our vision and mission. So vision of UMT Connected, creating a world-class education available to anyone, anywhere, and anytime through the use of innovative technology to improve teaching and learning. Mission. Our mission is the provision of convenient, affordable, and high-quality virtual education to the diverse population while advocating the forward-looking, technology-driven optimism of UMT across all academic disciplines. We believe in creating a working environment where all team members feel valuable and appreciated, because we believe that people work for personal growth and recognition. So at UMT Connected, we believe in a positive working environment. The culture within UMT Connected is very collaborative. We have friendly and collegial environment. We believe in continuous improvement, which is based on the centered benchmarks, and most of all, we believe in creativity. The next platform is like UMTX. UMTX deals with the design and development of non-credit, skills-based and professional short courses. Our professional team assists faculty members through a wide variety of instructional tools and techniques to help build interactive short courses on various topics as per need. UMT is the first university to get Quality Matters membership in all over Pakistan. Getting QM membership enabled us to design templates for online courses, following the international standard guidelines and also taking consideration of the guidelines by Quality Matters. So UMT Connected united with Hybrid Institute to host it, as well as presented All Pakistan Online Education Summit 1.0, then APOS 2.0, and here we are today on the last and final stage of All Pakistan Online Education Summit 3.0. So we have today, today is the last and most interactive session today, all along the day, and now we are in the last phases of it. So next we have, yes, here. As I mentioned, our services for students earlier, we also publish our newsletter about top stories time to time. We have many feathers of achievements in our cap, including MOOC development, exemplary courses, including art and science of teaching and learning, and 21st century skills. Art and science course is being designed for all the faculty members of university and University of Management and Technology, and just like the 21st century skills is designed for all the students of UMT. I feel like sharing some of the other achievements of my department. We also have participated in the development of various proposals like HEC ODL regulation, MBA Executive Masters, and TEVTA training. We also have done many things in instructional designing, such as Storyline, Captivate, and Zoho Purchase, created a complete organogram for current and future needs of the Directorate of Distance Education. We have also designed a 3D float plan for the Directorate of Distance Education at SDT, including all data, network requirements, as well as necessary hardware. Virtual Education Project of Pakistan, VEPP participation, formed partnerships with edX, HDX, Coursera, Pearson, who are now collaborating with us on All Pakistan Online Education Summit 3.0 as well. So UMT Connected started a portal and set up meetings to discuss and develop scoreboard and further implementation of it. Also led efforts to consolidate Mobile Kit and Studio, as well as UMT Smart Hyperflex Model 2020. So this is the slide that provides you a glimpse of what our Connected's website looks like. By visiting our Connected's website, you will get to know various aspects important in e-learning. We have also provided detailed information on various characteristics for the students as well as for the faculty members. UMT Connected is really concerned and takes pain for the provision of instructional design, support to its faculty members and partners by rendering them matchless and premium services. The consulting services that our department offers are provided in the slide. You can go through it. Moving forward, here is the top view of our new office, which consists of a conference room, that is UCCR, UMT Connected Conference Room. We have coordinator's office, we have lobby, then there is stairs office, and then there is producer's office. The float plan for Studio X is in front of you. Moving forward, these are some of the screenshots of our weekly newsletter, which we send to our students here at university. and have a look on these designs of newsletters as well. So we have conducted meetings over Zoom on digitalization scoreboard with each school's dean and then directors, in which we explained each and every task description in detail. So one of the main purpose of the digitalization scoreboard is that there is no faculty and no course left behind. What we wanted is that our faculty to communicate with us and let us know that where we can assist them on each step of digitalization. As you can see that this is the slide we are directly asking them from our faculty to mention that if they have, if they need any assistance, if they have any query, either technical or training wise, especially to enable UMT Connected for LMS and digitalization. So we have conducted series of these meetings, very fruitful, since we were able to understand the needs and requirements of each school and campus in a customized way, you can say in a very personalized way. So here we have the second portion of scoreboard for official matters. Moving forward, there are some samples of leaderboard on your screen. Samples of leaders board. Okay. UMTX deals with skills-based courses with credit or I've already talked this earlier in my presentation. So these courses are LCROSS methodology. This methodology is basically was developed after doing hours and hours of research and comparisons of the best MOOCs in the world. So it is the most suitable way to structure the content and best for MOOC. What is the best for MOOCs? So LCROSS is basically is L for let's start, K is knowledge, ER is experience and reflection, A is for assessments, W is what next, and E extend your understanding, whereas S is for summary. Okay, moving forward, OLAC methodology. Following the international standards of quality matters, we have very successfully developed, I would add here, OLAC methodology. For developing courses on LMS, by using OLAC template, we have made sure that our students feel standard and positive learning experience while their time on LMS. So we have designed world-class MOOCs with such high standards that we can, open them publicly for the whole world to take the benefit out of it. So these MOOCs deals with the basic requirements, soft skills for a student. And while we focus on the main skills in our academic courses, we must also make our student enabled to deal with the job market requirement as well and to be successful employed. Here are some other MOOCs for your eyes to see. Just imagine a student graduating from our campus with problem solving skills or expert in oral communication, etc. I mean, what kind of amazing graduates we will produce for the betterment of our country's economy. Just imagine that. Okay, moving forward, just have a glance at our e-courses here. Isn't it amazing? So here we have, this is how one of the UMT MOOC model designed by our team looks like. You can see it on your screen. Okay. This is the welcome page for MOOC model course on your screen. Next, we have just like OLAC, this is how the instructor's profile and get to know each other portions look like on the MOOC model course. Have a look at it. Okay, moving forward. Here's an view of oral communication MOOC. And then we have all this other stuff related about oral communications in the MOOC courses. So UMT Connected have also designed art and science for teaching and learning for all the faculty members of university and University of Management and Technology. One of the main purpose of developing this mandatory courses is that faculty can be in the shoe of students and understand basically all the possible aspects of online courses. So yes, art and science for teaching and learning. Okay. So I think we have our next presenter on the queue. Okay. Let me just. Okay, so I just summarize my presentation here. So this is all about UMT Connected Department. One slide is left if we have some time, so I can quickly cover this up. This is the digital academic skills preface for the students so they can understand technical and digital skills of academics. So we have seen art and science of teaching and learning is basically developed for the faculty members of University of Management and Technology, whereas digital academic skills, which is DAS, is developed for the students. So thank you so much. This is the brief introduction of my department, UMT Connected. And I now get back to the presentation. All right. So without any further ado, I suppose Ms. Urooj Simeen has joined the meeting. So Assalamu alaikum, Ms. Urooj, how are you? Am I audible?
Wa alaikum assalam. I am perfectly fine. Yes, Nadia, you are audible.
Very warm welcome to the summit. And before I pass on the mic and floor to you, I have a brief introduction for our audience. So Ms. Urooj Simeen, engineer by profession and educationist by passion. She has a degree in computer engineering and she is a certified Six Sigma Black Belt. She has been working in this field for 12 plus years, and as an educationist, her focus is on child-led education using different projects based, which one of them is STREAM, that means science, technology, research, engineering, arts, and mathematics, and game-based learning. To learn through gamification is our topic under the discussion. So over to you, Ms. Urooj. The floor is yours now.
Thank you so much. Please let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today, the topic that I'm talking about is Learn to Learn. My name is Urooj Simeen. I am the CEO and co-founder of eServices and Technologies. We started this program to build international quality programs from around the world to Pakistan. And I am a believer of child-led learning. And I think that if there is an interest in learning, then students can move forward really quickly and with excellence. So coming back to our topic, today I would be talking about game-based learning. Before I move into the agenda and what I would be discussing, I would like you guys to tell me that I don't know if this is interactive or not, but when we see this game, Angry Bird, what comes into our mind? A juvenile game in which you are just passing a time. But what if I tell you that a study was conducted with two different groups, one who played this game and other who don't? A follow-up memory test then revealed that the Angry Bird group, after being exposed to this virtual environment for just over 2 weeks, were found to have been stimulating their brain better than the group that did not play the game at all. Due to the particular launching trajectories that occurs in this game, Angry Bird, there are certain mathematical topics for which this tool is very well suited. So games are an effective way to learn because they simulate adventures and keep our brains happily engaged. But what exactly do we learn? How do you know you are using game-based learning in your lessons versus gamifying your lessons? So today we are going to be talking about gamification versus game-based learning, type of game-based learning, how game-based learning works, and why it works. And then finally, I'm going to close the presentation with a checklist for an educators for game-based learning. Good game-based learning application can draw us into virtual environment that look and feel familiar and relevant. Within an effective game-based learning environment, we work towards a goal, choosing actions and experience the consequences of those actions along the way. We make mistakes in our risk-free settings and through experimentation. We actively learn and participate the right way to do things. This keeps us highly engaged in practicing behavior and thought process that we can easily then transfer to the real life. We don't learn when we are bored, but if we are engaged in something, then we would definitely learn more. The gamification and game-based learning, both of these things are somewhat similar. Why? Because they produce strategies, promote engagement, and sustain motivation in learning. However, gamification and game-based learning can also be distinguished. Gamification is the integration of game elements like point system, leaderboards, badge, and other elements related to game into the conventional learning activities in order to increase engagement and motivation. While game-based learning, in contrast, involve designing learning activities so that the game characteristic and game principle inhere within the learning activities themselves. In order to understand GBL or game-based learning better, its a different type can be examined along with taking the following into consideration: the place where the game happens and the environment in which the students play the game. There are three, well, basically there are three, we can easily distinguish it into three different types of learning. For example, board games, real life games, and the digital game. For board games, if we consider Monopoly, Monopoly can be considered as an educational game, right? It has all the necessary elements: a story, a character, point, competition, and other aspects. There are many examples of Monopoly-like games for school with modified rule for different subjects like history Monopoly or math Monopoly. In the real life, the environment here is real world. In this kind, student must move, act, use their body and their minds in order to play. This is the most impressive type, and it provokes student in almost every aspects of their learning. Since there is the possibility to move into certain space, the real life game is often connected to theaters maybe. It easily find role play activity, it's as well as simulation or drama in this type of game learning. Students act as if they were a character of the game, make decisions according to their goals and environments and rule. Then finally, we have the digital virtual environment and the virtual game. The environment here, of course, is virtual, and students have a character that moves through the game where they face challenges that are placed along the game path. A digital game can also involve skills that are connected to the use of body in the real space. It can train students to collaborate in different and virtual way. In this game, what do you see? A bunch of troops attacking a village, right? But it's much more than that. It's all about strategy, how a small group of troops are attacking this big village, how the player is using their resources, what is he targeting, what is the end goal, which set of troop is suitable for what kind of attack, when to deploy when to attack and when to deploy and where to deploy the troops. If the player cannot conquer the whole village, what should he do? Should he change his course of action? Just in 2 minutes, a lot of thinking is going on in the student's mind when they are playing this kind of games. So how does game-based learning work or GBL work? We do things differently in the GBL environment. Students learn through challenging experience and not lectures and worksheets. Let's walk through how it works. collaboration with the friends. Student be different friends, the facilitator or the teacher, then break them into group and start the game. The kids compete on teams working together to figure out how to win. They embrace the chaos. The games are fast and complex and constantly changing. Teammates sometimes get loud, shouting out ideas, helping each other, and debating strategies. They test assumptions. No adult explain the rules. Students experiment to make sense of the games. They try different tactics, test their ideas, and think crazy new ways to win. They expect course correction. The kids who win make more mistakes faster than anyone else. It's the only way to learn because students and teacher needs to leave the perfectionism at the door. They reflect to grow. Students take what they learn in the game and relate those lessons to the real life. That way, they make insightful, meaningful, so they are easier to remember and then apply later. There is no speed limit. Every student need to experience of being pushed beyond their comfort zone. As they get better at the game, kids can move into different higher levels with higher difficulties levels, so they never lack a challenge. It is important to also create and incorporate games according to the students' ages. For example, a teenager can tend to lose their motivation if a game seems too childish. In order to avoid this, a teacher or an educator must prepare games according to their audience with content that matters to the students. Teachers should never be afraid of using the game for learning and keeping in mind that nobody is ever too old to play a game. Here is one more example of how Minecraft can be used for coding. Student can use a block coding or even JavaScript to write a code for a mod to customize their experience. Students should be involved in the building of the game because it can be highly instructive and motivational. Keep in mind that building an educational game can be a great project-based learning activity. Finally, we'll talk about the benefits of game-based learning: motivation, inclusion, student-centered and student-led, critical thinking and decision-making, group work, and creativity. We could say that if students were always motivated, teachers' problems would disappear. Motivation is a key to good teaching and learning flow in the classroom. For this reason, game-based learning is very effective as games are naturally motivating and engaging. Moreover, games provide something that can be described as far from traditional learning. They are often include competition among themselves, which can raise the level of motivation in the classroom. Teacher can decide on the type of competition and create supportive teams to lower the level of stress among the students. Playing can challenge students and force them to step out of their comfort zone. For this reason, sometimes it can happen that some students don't want to play a certain role. If this is the case, the teacher should not force those who do not want to play. Fortunately, a game-based learning activity, whether it is complex or not, is made to different part and different characters. There's no limit to the creation of the type of player and the kind of participation required from the students. Students can be assigned the role of a supervisor who check everybody's respect the rules of the game, or a recorder who makes the video of the in-class activity, a reporter who collects result or describe how the game evolved, or a constructor who actually build the games. The point is roles and tasks can be differentiated and it includes all the students. Games are naturally student-centered and students should be involved in the preparation of the game. If they are engaged and interested, they will accomplish the task more willingly than with traditional activities. Usually, when teachers set up a goal and the rules, most students will work without any further explanation. Teacher can monitor and assist the students. Critical thinking and decision making are two skills that can be participated and learned, especially when engaging in role play. When students are assigned to play a specific character in certain environment, they have to decide on the spot what to do in order to reach the goal. It is not difficult to understand why game-based learning is highly suitable for teamwork and group work. Unity is the strength, and everybody, lose or winner, when they play game, they play it together. Game-based learning and games are effective tool for fostering creativity, especially if the students are involved in the construction of the game. Imagination has no limit. Teacher can leave the opportunity inside of the game where student can fill in the blanks with their own solutions and ideas. So finally, I will be closing the topic with a checklist for the for the educators in game-based learning. Join the discussion. Before implementing the game-based learning completely, come into action. There have to be carried out an active discussion, and there are few available online websites where you can join. Online game-based learning community offer a wealth of information and suggestion. No matter what you are looking for, you are going to find an answer over there. Play some games. Being an educator, there isn't going to be a lot of time and support initially when you are starting this program. But the time spent in playing game are valuable for two reasons. Number one, it's fun. And secondly, unless you explore the game yourself and play different game available, you may never know which game is trending among the students and how to incorporate it in the educational concept. There are literally many games available online, and it may even confuse the educator sometimes. So appropriate games should be found and encouraged. And games like Clash of Clan, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, Lord of the Rings are few of the games that can teach teamwork, collaboration, strategic planning, and critical thinking. Beside these, there are always Google to help you out. Always, the third step is always take baby steps. People usually think that the adoption of game in learning system is impossible. Even if it does become possible, you would have to revise your whole syllabus or a curriculum. And I know that it is a tedious job, but an educator should start small, divide your lesson, try making them solvable. Do it in a small, start, for example, with just Angry Bird in one of the class. You don't have to deep and dive until or unless you understand everything correctly. Embrace the failure. The game should be helpful, engaging, and enable students in addition to having fun from them. For example, a game like Angry Bird can be used to project concepts like mathematics and physics. Always be an advocate about that, because once you'll start working on it, you are going to realize that how important this tool is in this new environment. And finally, have fun. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to sharing these ideas. If you guys have any question, I would be happy to answer those questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Urut Samin, and it was indeed a very interactive session and critical thinking. You talked about decision making among the students. This was really important because in the game-based learning, in this way, they are able to do their decisions on their own, on the right spot at that particular time. So this is very encouraging. And you talked about traditional learning. We have to make a switch, we have to make move, and all this creativity and grooming. This is the time we need the grooming of the students as well in the online education. It was indeed a very good session, and I'm receiving a lot of questions to be asked to you. So can I proceed with your permission?
Yeah, sure.
So the first question I'm receiving is game-based learning is beneficial. However, there's a question that using this method may harm children's health because it is harmful for youth to spend that much time on social media. So how you can answer that?
So I would just say this one line: balance is the key, and balance is the key for everything. Anything that you do, if it exceeds the limit, then it is harmful for you. Game-based learning is a tool. It is how you utilize the tool. And regarding the students' health, that is the main reason that the teachers, the educators, should be prepared beforehand so that they don't lose time, because it's really valuable and the students are more focused toward it. If you as an educator are not prepared, then the students are more just going to spend the time aimlessly, and then it's going to won't be beneficial for them. So the main thing is that balance. You use it as a tool and you use it in a positive way.
Very well said. So I have another question for you. I'm receiving, and it says, is a student who has learned through game studies that much more practical in his job life? Because as it will never instill the confidence in you while you are in crowd or dealing with the clients in a real practical life out of the game.
I won't say that they don't have a practical experience, because nowadays the games that these students are playing, they are all interactive and they are all connecting one person to another. For example, I would just give you an example of Minecraft. It's a very common game that most of the students are playing, and they communicate with each other what to do, how to play. There are servers where they're actually interacting with each other. Then they are building their own mods, and then they're selling those mods. Young students build programming mods by themselves and then selling it. And I don't think that when we were starting, we had this opportunity available. So they are right now, they are in the practical environment. We have to understand one thing. This virtual environment is the real future. It's not going anywhere. So it is connecting us with the whole world, and it's not going anywhere. So we have to embrace that, and we have to know, like, for example, we just moved in the COVID, everything moved online. So did the client went out? No. So we get connected there, and the students are connected with each other and with other students as well. So I don't think that they are going to lack anything. I think that this is they learn more valuable lessons through game-based learning, because they interact more and they are more engaged.
We are more connected, we are more interacted. With this, I'll have a last question for you. And it says, do you think if we encourage students to play games, they would lose interest in books or paper-based courses?
If you want to develop a certain kind of interest in your student or in your children, it starts with you.
Sorry to interrupt. I would say it is a thing of balance. So how you maintain a balance in your life?
That's true. And sure. I get this question a lot, that people say that how we are going to get our kids engaged in books. How should we encourage more readings and stuff? So it starts with you. When you go and tell the student, why don't you read? They're not going to read. If you read, your student or your child is going to read. So they are both equally important. And no, the student don't lose the interest if you have the environment of reading in your house or in your school. So they don't lose that interest. They are going to read in their free time, and then they're going to play as well. So it's all about balance, as you say, Madhya.
I think it's you who create the balance, the supervisor thing, the monitoring.
The adult who is in the life of the student, he is the one who creates the balance. He is the one who show it with the practical example. If you are not reading in your house, nobody is going to read in your house, whether or not you are going to give them games or not. So if you read, your kids are going to read. And again, as I said earlier, this game-based learning is a tool. It's up to you how you utilize it positively.
Very well said. Also, you were saying earlier in your presentation that playing can change and challenge and get your student out of their comfort zone. So I will take a last comment on it, please. About
for example, zone. Yeah, for example, that I would give you a very small example of my own daughter. My daughter is 8 years old, and I have been trying to teach her to read, and she is not interested in reading at all. And she thinks that it is something that is very difficult and I cannot do it, even though we keep on reading and stuff like that. But when she started playing a game, it's called PKXD, and she was playing this game. And in this game, they have these chats, pre-recorded chats available, in which the players have to communicate with each other. She had to come out of her comfort zone and read that chat to communicate with the fellow players, because this was something needed in the game and this was something she wanted. So now, after that, reading was not a problem for her. So she came out of her comfort zone, started reading, started communicating, started typing and coming up with spellings. And because she was in a gaming environment and nobody was pushing her to do that.
Exactly. Thank you so much. That was indeed a great session, and our students, I must say, they enjoyed it, because still I am receiving a really great number of messages to be asked from you. But again, we have a time constraint here and we have to move forward. Thank you so much for having your presence, for gracing us with your presence today and taking time for us. And
thank you, Madhiha, for inviting me, and it was really an insightful conference for 3 days. I've been following each and every speaker, and it was truly a learning for myself as well.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much.
And thank you, Dr. Adia. Thank you.